Hi, I'm making this training video to show how to change the rear drum brakes on a 2007 Chevy Colorado. The how-tos I found online didn't give me quite enough information that I needed, but I figure I'll figure it out. I hate drum brakes, haven't done them in about 10 years. First thing I did was put a brick under the front wheel, pull the cover off, and now I'm going to loosen the lug nuts and jack the truck up and then pull the wheel off. Always use a jack stand once you get it jacked up. Safety. Here it is with the wheel off, and now the drum is exposed. You see the truck is actually resting on the jack stand, and I just left the jack under there for additional support. So now I got to pull this drum off. I haven't pulled them off in a while. Last time I pulled them off was when I put those shocks on about 20,000 miles ago. So I got to get my hammer and pry bar out and start beating on it. Okay, here it is. The drum is pretty much off now. Came off pretty easy with just a claw hammer, prying around the edges, work your way around. Now, the one place it tends to get stuck is around this ring here, and sometimes you got to spray a little WD-40 on that to break that loose. But it's good for me that I took these off not too long ago. Now they say if I wasn't replacing the drums as well, I could mark this so that I put it back on with the same alignment, but I went ahead and got new drums as well. I've got over 100,000 miles on these brakes, so I figured I'd go ahead and replace the whole thing. Drums as well. Although now that I have it off, it doesn't look too terrible. And the shoes actually still have a little bit of life on them. I got an inspection due next month, so I figured I'd go ahead and get them changed. But these probably could have lasted me a little while longer yet. But like I said, 100,000 miles, inspection next month. Might as well go ahead and do them now. Never hurts to clean everything real good with a can of brake cleaner before you start tearing it apart. I usually use a fair amount of this. It's probably horribly toxic to breathe in, so try to avoid that. Now you're supposed to turn this adjusting mechanism to loosen it up. I figured the easiest way to do it is with my big screwdriver here, and I can't actually turn it and hold the camera at the same time, but use one hand to pull the little lock away from it, and then you can turn it pretty easily. It turns pretty easily, just like this, just turning it with the screwdriver. And I think I'm turning it the right way. I'm moving this piece that way, so this whole assembly should drop out. Okay, now you can see here I got this adjusted so that it's really not putting any pressure on the shoes, so there's hardly any thread over here. And then I was able to just stick my brake pliers behind the spring and just yank it right off. So, let's see if I can do this while holding the camera. So the spring is out. Adjuster is out. Probably need to use both hands. And to get the adjuster out was still a little bit more tricky than I thought. I had to pry the shoe out like this, and then once I had the shoe out far enough, I was able to pull it out, and it comes out in two pieces basically, because it comes out like that. So I'm just going to hold it together there because I don't want anything to get lost. Okay, that was a little terrifying. I just pulled this shoe off by sticking my pry bar behind the parking brake thing, popped it out, and the parking brake is under a lot of tension still apparently, even though obviously you want the brake off for this. So now I just grabbed the other side and pulled that out too, and it looks like the parking brake cable is still connected here. So now I've got to figure out how to get this off. Just for quick reference, here's the new one. Comes with a spring already on it. So I need to figure out how to detach that cable from the back of it, push it through the spring, and then attach it onto here somehow. Did I mention how much I hate drum brakes? The crappy instructions I found online said to hold the parking brake cable with channel locks while you try to get this spring off. I'm not really sure why. It didn't say why. This little piece was just balanced on the back side, so that was easy to pull off. But I pried the spring up and put some channel locks on the parking brake cable. I'm going to try to figure out how to release it. Looks like it might just be something right in here. But again, I'm going to have to set the camera down to try to figure that out. Still working on the parking brake cable. I think it's just stuck in there, and I've been trying to tap the little tip out from where it's behind with a hammer. So I think this should do it. This should get it out in a minute. Alright, I got it that far by pulling the hell out of it with pliers. Just keep beating on it and pulling on it and see what happens. And that's that. I got it off finally. Terrible design, General Motors. Terrible fucking design. Could have just stuck with the damn disc brakes like you had on the Blazers and everything else for forever. Alright, the cable is in the new one now. Had to lube it up with a little WD-40 and push and curse a whole lot. Bend this thing down. And now I should be able to just pull it back up the rest of the way and bend this piece straight. Getting this stupid thing in is proven to be a real royal pain in the ass. It's like you gotta hold the shoe in place and then bend and force this fucking thing. It doesn't want to fucking go because you gotta get it in here and behind here on that little hook at the same time. It would be fucking helpful if I had an extra set of hands. Damn it. Son of a bitch. Probably be here for the next hour fighting with this fucking thing, so I might as well shut the camera off again. See, it's got to go over that little hook there. See, this is the problem. The fucking new ones, the old ones had that nice little lip. The new ones don't have any kind of goddamn lip to hold them on this, whatever the fuck it is, thing on the bottom. So how the hell are they supposed to stay in place? Fuck. Alright, let's try this a different fucking way. We'll use a bungee cord to hold the goddamn shoes in place. And then I'll try to put the spring on now. Wish me luck. Give me a lot of cursing. So the horseshoe spring is in place on the shoes, but it's not over that little damn thing in the back. Fucking great. You know, after a whole lot of cursing, get the stupid thing off, on. I don't even know if the damn horseshoe spring is supposed to go over that or in front of it. Wish the fucking instructions were a little more clear. Fuck you, whoever on 355 Nation put these goddamn instructions together. Jesus. I'm gonna go Google and try to figure out if that spring is even supposed to be behind it or not, because I have no idea. I would assume it would be supposed to be behind it. Now it looks like I get to start all over again because I tapped on the stupid horseshoe spring with a hammer. And the whole fucking thing fell apart, including my goddamn stupid sealed wheel drum. God, I'm so fucking frustrated with this. This whole stupid thing popped out in the spring and everything. Well, I was going to bleed my brakes anyway, now I definitely have to. finally, after copious Googling and cursing, I figured out that this is the way that the spring is supposed to go. It is supposed to go behind that stupid little tab. Damned if I can figure out how to get the fucking shoes on with the spring there. Let's try some more. Here it is, half on, sort of. So the rest of it's going to fall off when I try to put the back side on now. Oh, Jesus. And here it is on. That was really tough. Hopefully this wheel cylinder is okay after it popped off. I found a thread online from somebody else that had the exact same problem, that had it pop apart. And of course they got no responses to it when they were asking if it would be okay or not, so just put the rest of it together and pray. Alright, here's the mechanism up here put back together now. Now I need to adjust this screw out as far as I can. You put it on as far apart as you can until the hub, until the drum just barely slides on. So same as before. Get my big screwdriver, and I'll just use that to turn these notches the right way. But again, this is going to take 2 hands probably. I think I'm turning it the right way. Actually, this is going really easy. Still hard with only one hand. So set the camera down again. I'm going to grab the new drum, and I'm going to adjust this until the new drum barely fits on. Alright, and here it is adjusted. The shoes are pretty darn close next to the drum, and seems to fit on there. Nice and tight. So I'm just going to spray it down with one more spray of brake cleaner, and then throw the wheel back on. And then I have to do the other side and then bleed them. And then we should be done. Boy, that horseshoe clamp here made this way harder than it needed to be.